Patrick Mahomes, just 3 months after knee surgery, has begun throwing again. Will he be ready for the beginning of the season? Will he not be? That's a major concern for them. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, in my eyes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, even though he's still got a whole nother career ahead of him. He's just so good. So good. Is he going to be ready for the beginning of the season?
For me, I'm gonna start off with this one. For me, I'm gonna say yes, just because he's got that power, he's got that mentality that he will push himself through, that he will try to get himself ready for that first game, and especially with Travis Kelce now, with that contract being a 3-year deal, which is like asinine to me, honestly. But he will push through. And can you really trust Justin Fields? Can you really? I mean, Justin Fields, they said he will be a voice in the locker room. And I'm like, can he throw a ball first? That's how I want to see. But yeah, I'm going to say yes.
For me, I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if he isn't ready. And right. I know that was not the original take when he went down. But there's dudes that work harder than everybody else, and then there's regular people. And Mahomes is just one of those guys that's always going to outwork everybody. And I don't want to end up sounding like Chris Collinsworth here and be all over Mahomes here and act like I'm the biggest fanboy ever. That's not the case. But I do think that he is just one of those guys he doesn't take no for an answer. And a lot of people out there are just going to stick to whatever they're told. And here's what you should be able to recover in this time frame. And normal people are back by this time. And normal people, he isn't normal. He's shown us every single step of his career that he's not normal. He's played with all kinds of injuries before. And you get to a certain point that coming back early doesn't make you more susceptible to re-injuring that specific injury. The injury itself is healed. It's more about getting everything else strong enough to be able to support the leg properly and to be able to compete like you're used to being able to compete. So I think he will be ready right out of the gate. And they'll have the opportunity to use Justin Fields in a more creative way as an offensive weapon, which I think is a smart move. If you put him out there for some gadget plays and allow him to do almost like like we used to see with Miami back in the day, where you've got the offense where you don't know who's going to throw and who's going to run out there. You could throw a little
wildcat.
Some wildcat, man. Let's use him as a wildcat quarterback. You want to get the most out of Fields. Don't ask him to be a regular quarterback. He isn't. But what he is super athletic. So allow him to be that, and you might be able to really open up some things and ease Mahomes back into a full workload.
Nikki?
I mean, yeah, like you guys said, Mahomes has that mentality. He's going to push himself. He'll come back. I mean, he'll be back week 1 on the field for sure. But the question is, will he be rusty for a bit? Will he be truly up point game-wise? Like, will his body be able to hold up? Will he still be able to come in and just dominate, or will it take him a month to get back into the swing of things? Because now, the AFC West, they're not the automatic favorites anymore. It's a little bit tougher between Denver and even the Chargers. We saw last year they got to them a few times. So will Kansas City have the right pieces, and will they be able to come back? And will Mahomes still be able to dominate? Because even last year before the injury, wasn't exactly his best year. It was his weakest year as a starter up to that point. So can he just come back, put last year behind him? I mean, maybe it depends on who's on their schedule week 1. If they get a favorable matchup against a team like the Raiders, all right, that's a nice opening matchup to get his confidence going, get a win in the win column against the guys starting off, and then go from there. But will he be back? Oh, absolutely.
See, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is someone that lacks confidence whatsoever. I think he knows what his abilities are. I think Patrick Mahomes' dip in productivity over the last few years is not because of Patrick Mahomes. It's because of the weapons they've decided to put around him. I mean, when you go from Tyreek Hill to a bunch of guys that can't catch the football or can't run routes, or the dip in Travis Kelce's production because of age, you know,
To be fair, that first year though, he still dominated without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, and he has that ability, you know what I mean? But at the same time, a lot of that is because of the guys around him. And I think Patrick Mahomes, you know, the quarterback position is different than a wide receiver. You know what I mean? A wide receiver coming back from an ACL is completely different. Will Patrick Mahomes have to limit himself as far as the things he does, extending plays, running the football? Yeah, I think he'll have to limit himself at first when it comes to that. But as far as dropping back and finding open receivers and throwing the football, I think he'll be all right. ACL, you know, it's like I said, it's not a receiver. He doesn't have to necessarily stop on a dime and cut this way, cut that way a million times a game. You know what I mean? Plant his foot and cut that way, you know. So I think it is different. I think he'll be all right. I think he will be back week 1, which is huge for the Kansas City Chiefs. And, you know, again, Patrick Mahomes, he has a little more pull than most quarterbacks in this league. You know what I mean? There's viral videos going around of Andy Reid trying to pull him off the field, and, you know, Pat being like, fuck that. No, I'm not. No. You know what I mean? And then them forcibly having to push him out. Like, you got to go back, Pat. You got to go get checked. So I think he'll be back week 1. And, you know, that is a tough division. It's only getting tougher. Denver, obviously, as good as they were last year. If Bo Nix doesn't get hurt at the end of that game in a crazy ending, I believe that Denver would have ended up going to the Super Bowl over New England. Of course, you got the Chargers, who I'm very interested in this year. You know, they got Jim Harbaugh, who we all know Jim Harbaugh has been successful coaching everywhere he's coached, whether it's the 49ers, University of Michigan, and he definitely had the Chargers playing well last year. If they didn't have the total collapse of the offensive line, who knows where they would have ended up last year. Their addition to Mike McDaniel is going to be huge for them. And, you know, I keep saying Tyreek Hill is a free agent. And if he gets healthy, one or two teams is going to come calling for him. It's going to either be the Chiefs or it may be the Chargers with Mike McDaniel. His 2 most productive years as a star, as a professional, were under Mike McDaniel in Miami. So Mike McDaniel knows how to use Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, if he's looking to regain his gusto, regain his name, and show that he can still do it, what better person to go to than either Andy Reid or Mike McDaniel? So both those teams are going to be in the hunt for him, and that's going to be a very competitive division. I wouldn't be surprised if the representative for the Super Bowl comes out that division this year.
Yeah, and don't forget about Kenneth Walker too. That addition is just like adds a whole nother layer, because now we just, let's say hypothetically Mahomes can't make it for week 1 and 2 and 3. I can trust Kenneth Walker carrying most of that load, not Justin Fields. So Kenneth Walker, he got paid. Him and Travis Kelce could honestly handle the load when Mahomes not there. So I still think he will be there though.
Well, see, I think Kansas City's had very capable running backs. For some reason, they just don't seem to use them, right, the way that they should. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, they've had very productive backs. They abandoned the run for whatever reason, and I think it's because you got Pat Mahomes at quarterback. So can you really blame them? No, but you know what I mean? It is what it is.